The first section of our podcast series is on how to create your own happiness. When we talk about happiness, I know it's a term that you've heard for a million or a billion times over and over again. But in our context, we are going to try and delve deeper into this feeling of happiness. So what is happiness? Perhaps just a state of joy and a state of excitement, but it's momentary. Perhaps happiness could arise from the moment or from the act of feel-good hormones being secreted into the bloodstream. It gives us that rush of adrenaline and that rush of including happiness. But then again, how do you cultivate the state of happiness, or how do you ensure that you live a happier life than the one that you have presently? What I suggest is this. Rather than depending on the momentary secretion of feel-good hormones into the bloodstream, which also happens when someone takes psychoactive drugs and other substances that alter the mental functioning of a person, happiness can also be cultivated through seeking fulfillment. So fulfillment, I perceive it as that state of being satisfied and as that state of having achieved something, perhaps a goal or a vision or a dream or something that you set out to do. So when you look back, let's say for example, you had a to-do list for this particular day. You wrote it in the morning or you wrote it yesterday night. So you look at it, you've ticked, you've been able to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then how does that make you feel? Perhaps it makes you feel more confident in your abilities. You tend to trust yourself even more. You tend to be satisfied with yourself and what you feel you needed to do for that particular day. So I suggest seeking fulfillment as an alternative of chasing happiness, because happiness itself is momentary. It doesn't last for long. Just a few seconds, maybe a minute, maybe a day. But to be sincere, any normal human being cannot sustain the thrill and the rush of excitement that happens when feel-good hormones are secreted into the bloodstream. Let's say you are a football fan and then your favorite team scores a goal. You jump up and down, you shout, you throw your hands in the air. But for how long can you sustain that? Because you were happy when the goal was scored. For how long can you continue to jump and shout and scream and throw your hands in the air? Perhaps maximum 30 seconds. After that, the energy levels go down because the level of hormones that were secreted into your bloodstream will have been used up. That is the same thing with happiness. So let's try to do this. And this is what I suggest. As a person, you know what's meaningful to you. You know the things that you love to do. Perhaps you know the gifts and the abilities that you have, or even the job that you do. If it's something that makes you feel satisfied because it aligns to what you may say is your goal in life, then pursue it. Create steps along the way. Where will you want to be tomorrow, the day after, next month, next week, next year, in 10 years' time? Then start now. Create smaller steps that will lead you towards the destination that you want to reach in 10 years' time. Celebrate each step along the way. Have a to-do list for each and every particular day. Tick off the items that you've set out to do, and it will help to improve your levels of self-confidence, your levels of self-trust, and your level of confidence in your abilities and trust in yourself. What will that do? It will help you to stay in a positive state of feeling or in a positive state of mood for a longer period of time, compared to if you have to wait for those momentary feelings of excitement and joy. For example, when a goal is scored. Alternatively, you are a football fan, and permit me to use this example. You're a football fan. So what do you do as a football fan? Rather than waiting for the goals to be scored for you to be happy with your team, you could try to appreciate how your team is playing, the good passes that they are making, the roles that each player is playing in the field, even if they won't win the game or they won't score any goals. But try to pick out the positive things that are going on in the game. Create your own happiness, because no one will come from outside of you to cultivate that feeling inside of you. Look for it yourself. That way, it will be more sustainable and you will own it, and you'll help yourself to stay in a positive state of mood and feelings. And once you're in that positive state of mood and feelings, you will be in a position actually even to aspire, to create bigger ambitions, and to pursue the goals that are meaningful in your life. Alternatively, if you are not in that positive state of mood and feeling, you are in a negative one, you won't be able, or you won't have the energy and the positivity to pursue the things that you feel are meaningful to you. The goals, the dreams, the visions, no. And at that particular point, you come to realize that if you need to love yourself properly, or if you have to love yourself properly, then it's also essential that you learn how to create your own happiness, learn how to create your own fulfillment, which will sustain the feeling of happiness that you're going to experience generally over a longer period of time.